Hello, everyone. We are here today to talk about Firefly. This was the show that got voted on over on my Patreon to watch immediately once I finished up Buffy. 14 episodes in a movie, a sci-fi western war drama, if you will. And let me just be honest. Let me be absolutely honest with you. Going into Firefly, I was unsure. I was like, I feel like I know it's got to have good writing. Hopefully, it's going to have good characters, but the genre itself, that is not like a genre that I've really tapped into too much, that I've been drawn to very much. I love drama. Westerns, I've never been a fan of, and war stuff, I'm not a fan of. So I was like, oh God, I hope I like this show. And spoiler alert, I did enjoy Firefly. But we're going to go through a bit of episode by episode. I'm going to share some of my reaction footage to you to these big moments along the way, tell you kind of where I was at as I watched the show. I didn't know anything going into this show, so I was in for a wild ride. First of all, the fact that this show was kind of shown in not the order that the writers intended when it premiered on cable television is really disappointing. I enjoyed the order in which I watched the episodes. I watched on Hulu and just went with that order, and I just can't imagine it being shown to you any other way. But yeah, I really sat down with no knowledge. I knew from the cover that, they show Mal and they show Zoe on the cover, and I recognized those actors from both Buffy and Angel, the shows. And outside of that, I was like, why is it called Firefly? What is this show? I have no idea. I went in so blind. And let's get into my thoughts on the very first episode, Serenity. So the opening sequence of this first episode, Serenity, is putting us in the Battle of Serenity Valley, where Mal and Zoe and a couple others are fighting this battle against the Alliance, who is trying to basically, take over the galaxy. Malcolm is an independent. Him and Zoe are war soldiers, war friends. You can tell right away in that opening war scene that they are very close and have bonded through this time at war against the Alliance. It's a pretty long sequence here that they set up in the beginning when we're thrown into war with these characters. And I have to be completely honest with you guys, I was scared. Oh, guys. If a lot of this show is heavily grounded in war battle scenes and shit, I fear I'm not gonna have anything to say. I was nervous watching the opening sequence because, like I said, the war genre is not my thing. And I was like, oh no, are we just going to be at war for this entire show? Is the whole setting just war? But we get out of the war section and we realize that it's just there to kind of set up this relationship and this history with Mal and his friend Zoe, who were at war 6 years ago. We fast forward 6 years. We see that they are now running this independent ship called Serenity. I want to eat that. And they're basically just little entrepreneurs. They get deals done. They don't like a lot of government involvement, They fought that war for a reason. They don't like the Alliance. They kind of set up Mal as a Robin Hood figure to an extent in this first episode, where you learn that, he does deals that he has his own moral code for, although he is okay with kind of saying F it to the law when he feels it's fit, when he feels right about it. Yeah, they just kind of do these odd jobs to pick up some cash and keep it moving throughout the galaxy in their little Firefly spaceship Serenity. I was very excited when I first saw the design of the ship. Oh, it kind of looks like a firefly, you see? How it glows yellow at the back? I remember being like, oh my God, it looks like a firefly, cute, I get it. Now they have a whole crew together. So a lot of this episode as well is kind of figuring out and meeting everyone in this crew, figuring out the character dynamics within the crew. And then we're also gonna meet 3 new passengers, well, technically 4. 4 passengers that we take on board, which, that's another way that they make money, transporting people from one planet to the next if they need transport. Gives them some pocket change, We meet Kaylee, who I thought was just immediately a cutie pie. We meet Jane, who I was immediately like, okay, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on you. We meet Wash, who is the pilot and Zoe's husband. Thought he came across as a normal, nice, a bit of comedic relief at times husband. We also meet Inara, who, when I first was introduced to Inara, we kind of immediately are in this scene where she's like taking on a client. You can tell that she's in sex work. And because I knew that this was sci-fi and we were on a spaceship and that's the universe we're living in right now, I immediately assumed that she was like a sex robot.
Well, your clock's probably rigged to speed up and cheat us out of our fun.
Your clock? Is she like a sex robot? Is that what? I'm so sorry if that's not the vibe I'm supposed to get here. But the show took a completely different turn with how they deal with this whole companion sector of society. And they're actually very highly regarded. We find out from Mal himself that, you know, having Inara on board actually gets them into places that are considered very respectable, and it's very helpful when they want to make certain deals. They have a deal with this guy named Badger on Persephone, and of course it goes wrong. Something to know about this show: every deal that they arrange is going to go wrong. Something is going to go wrong. And I personally think that Mal likes it that way. I think he likes, you know, a little tussle here and there. Sometimes it's a bit much and he's like, okay, I need a break. But I think overall, the important thing, though, about this Persephone trip is this is where they pick up Book, Simon, and this guy named Lawrence.
Never married.
What?
He doesn't like rings? Oh, I thought you were making a ring joke. Okay, should I write down Grandpa? I feel like that character's got to be important, right?
Please be careful with that.
Mal, this is Simon.
Okay, another name.
Right on top of our stolen cargo.
Especially when you have stolen cargo. Like, it's surprising to me that they just are letting random citizens come on. So Book, they know, is a preacher. Right away in this first episode, I think they're introducing this theme of faith. Like, Mal is kind of on edge a little bit. When it comes to Book, he's like, please don't preach around me. Like, he's not the religious type. He doesn't want to hear it.
You're a shepherd.
Thought the outfit gave it away. Is it a problem?
Of course not.
No.
Oh.
As I said.
Does Mal have history with shepherds? He doesn't have really faith in anything after what he's been through in his life. And that is a theme that I will say I wish we could have gotten more of this show. Like, I'm going to end this video by saying I just wish we had more of this show, because there were a lot of seeds planted in these first 14 episodes that are great and could have like really bloomed as the show went on and didn't get to. Loved the movie. If you want to see my reaction, it's available. But it just would have worked so well in like a longer TV format. So anyways, yeah, Mal's a little on edge about Book, but he's like, a passenger's a passenger, pocket change is pocket change, let him on, whatever. We also meet Simon, who's kind of like this upper class doctor type that they are also on edge around. Basically, anyone who isn't crew, they kind of have a suspicious eye on you. You know, it's natural. It's just who they are to be suspicious of everything because of the crap that they deal with. And then Lawrence is like this quiet guy that also joins, and you don't get much of like a character assessment of Lawrence in this episode until the reveal happens later on. So yeah, they have like a bunch of stolen cargo, right? And they just need to get this stolen cargo out to Whitefall, and everything should go to plan, right? Absolutely not. We find out that Lawrence is actually a mole, and he contacted the Alliance and told them about the stolen cargo on board. And when I was watching at first, I was like, oh, like okay, lame. Like, leave us alone. Why do you care about our random stolen cargo? Like, how important is that? You know? This leads to like this huge scene where Lawrence shoots Kaylee. Really scary, because they did a really good job of making me like Kaylee pretty early on. So I was like, of all the people you're going to shoot, it's got to be Kaylee.
Simon Tam, you are bound by law to stand down.
The doctor. Hey. Is there
Get on the ground.
Oh my god. Wait, what? Really? He just wants Simon?
Hands off!
Get the hell down!
Stop it. Stop it.
Or he's gonna shoot. Oh my god. But Simon, you know, being a doctor, is able to operate and save Kaylee. And, you know, the crew really appreciates his abilities as a doctor. They do manage to like tie up Lawrence and put him away and like, okay, we'll deal with him in a second. Let's make sure Kaylee's good. And then we'll talk to Lawrence and see what the heck is going on. But before we get to learn more about Lawrence, we end up finding the stolen cargo that Lawrence was actually talking about. It's not what we just got off of Persephone. Well, technically we did get it from Persephone, but it's not what Mal thought it was. In the very least, Simon smuggled his sister on board in a box. When that first gets revealed, I'm like, what in the world is Simon involved with? What the hell? That is a person. But then we learn her name's River. He's just trying to help her. She was like in this government lab type system and they were messing with her head and she was in some like mysterious department and he doesn't know quite what they did to her, but he knows that it was bad and they like really messed with her brain and she's less like the person she used to be and he needed to get her out of there. I'm realizing right now, listen, by the way, this new format that I'm doing where I'm doing some talking here and filming, talking of my experience after I film the reactions. I want to mix that in with actual reaction footage. And for 14 episodes of a show, I'd like to get this in like an hour to hour and a half long video. Bear with me. This is my first time doing a video like this. I'm very excited about the idea, but it's going to take some trial and error. I think I need to keep it a bit more snappy when I film this part because you guys know I can yap. Mal immediately wants to throw River and Simon out. He's like, okay, you're not my crew, you're not my problem, you're causing me problems, get off my ship. But Inara actually stands up for them. She is like a big heart of the show character. And Mal's like, okay, you can leave with them. And we're like, hello, please be respectful. There's some things Mal says to Inara and throughout the whole show, honestly, that it's very shocking to me. And I'm surprised that that's kind of the person he is. But I don't know, he just puts captain first and human second a lot of the time and does what he needs to do as captain. And he felt that they were a threat, that they were putting a target on their back, on his crew's back, you know?
You throw them out, I'm leaving too.
I like her.
It might be best you do. You ain't a part of this business.
So then they have this scene where the stolen cargo that they were supposed to hand over to Badger, now they're giving to Patience, this woman named Patience, and it's this really badass scene. Like, this is where Mal is really established as like a badass. I have to say, I love Mal. I love him so much. He's one of my comfort characters. He's one of my favorite fictional characters of all time. I think he's great. He's like such a badass and he makes you feel so safe. They actually also kill Lawrence here and leave him on this planet with Patience and they get rid of the stolen cargo. It's not their problem and they get out of there. W for them.
I'm not playing anymore. Anybody makes so much.
We also do learn a bit more about River. We do break through to her a bit because, you know, River, she doesn't talk much at first. She's very disoriented. She doesn't seem completely with it, but there is this moment in this episode where River seems to be very aware all of a sudden that she's talking to, you know, Simon, her brother, and she's surprised that he rescued her.
I didn't think you'd come for me.
Well, you're a dummy.
It's cool to see that side of her that is like relieved to be away from the government lab. Like you know things were bad there and she doesn't want to be there anymore. So we're happy that Simon was able to save her. But then it's also kind of sad that she thought she was completely alone. And now she's not. I did connect with River pretty early on, but I was always a bit on edge because it's like we don't know what the government put in her head and what she's capable of. Book here in episode 1 as well is like not sure he's where he's supposed to be. He's seeing a lot of fighting and action in front of him and that's not usually his vibe. But Inara tells him, you know, maybe this is exactly where you're supposed to be. And so immediately I was excited in this first episode about Book as well and the journey, the soul seeking, like self-reflective journey that we were maybe going to see him go on throughout the season. I was hoping to see, you know, a character arc there. I was hoping to see him proven wrong in certain things that he thought he was absolutely in the right and see his like brain shift and be more open and accepting and morally gray because he seemed like a very black and white person in this first episode. And I was like, oh, this crew is going to teach him to be morally gray. And we didn't quite get into his character as much as I wanted to before it ended up getting canceled. But I'm not mad at how his character ends in the movie. So yeah, Jane is kind of team get rid of River and Simon as well because he's like, look, the Alliance is constantly going to be looking for them. The Alliance is constantly going to be after us because Jane was kind of like doing a one-on-one interrogation situation with Lawrence before, so he knows what's up, you know, before they killed him. And Mal's curious about that one-on-one time that Jane has had with Lawrence earlier that day, and he's like, did Lawrence try to bribe you to help him? And Jane says, yeah, but it just wasn't enough. It's just very interesting because it's like, oh, so there is a number that would get you to betray your crew. That's like red flag immediately raised for me, and definitely something we return to later in the season.
How come you didn't turn on me, Jane?
Money wasn't good enough.
What happens when it is?
Then he will.
That'll be an interesting day.
So saying, like, it's out there in the open, the fact that he might turn on him one day. I feel like it's gonna happen. But yeah, Mal decides to offer Simon and River to stay on board. He'll keep them safe. It's probably best to stay on the move in a situation like theirs. And he's, he kind of is like, you're a doctor. You saved Kaylee today. Maybe we could use a doctor on board. So fine, you can stay. And Simon doesn't really want to stay, but where's he going to go? Like, he doesn't have a lot of options here. They're fugitives. They stay. And that's the first episode. And guys, when I tell you I was terrified in those first 20 minutes, the like long war sequence, I was like, oh no, this isn't going to be my kind of show, is it? Once we got introduced to all of the characters, I immediately just understood these characters. The writing on this show, like, just does characters so well. And that's really all I need to enjoy something. I just need interesting characters, flawed, layered characters. And we got that. And then we also got this like dynamic that I'm like very curious about and trying to figure out. It made me really excited. Just the characters alone. All right. Keeping it snappy. Next, we had the train job. Mal and Zoe are hired to rob a train only to discover the stolen goods are medicine needed by a suffering town. This episode is so important, and I loved this episode actually. River has a nightmare in this episode where she keeps on dreaming about like men with blue gloves, like hands of blue. This episode we also meet Niska, who is the antagonist of the episode, and they set him up so well. He's terrifying. I loved the way they set up Niska, and I knew he would come back around the way that this episode ends, and he does. And I was scared but excited by that. I love like reoccurring characters. I think it's really important to make a universe feel more grounded and real. But anyways, when it comes to the train job, right? Mal and Zoe are the ones who go in on the train. They successfully, there's also Alliance members on the train, so it makes it extra difficult for them. But they successfully get the stolen cargo up to Jane through like the roof of the train. Jane is on a rope hanging from the ship. It's a whole situation, but we managed to get the cargo to Jane. They don't even know what the cargo is right now. They just make a deal with Niska, who's a very scary man, and they're like, you know what? He pays well. Let's go. They make it off the train and they pretend to be a married couple because they become aware, on the train that cargo's been stolen and they're asking around. So they're like, okay, we're a married couple. Let's just pretend we moved here for work. Sheriff Bourne is the one who's questioning them and he's like very suspicious of them. They come off suspicious. You can't help it.
My uncle said he knew a Joey Blogs out here. Said he might have an opening. Thought we'd try our luck.
You a miner by trade? Joey Blogs ate his own gun about 8 months back.
Did he?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that's so crazy that he left that out.
Would his job be open?
But it's actually Inara that comes through and is like a badass. And, this is where it's very much proven that her status is a big advantage of the Serenity crew. Like, she walks in there and she's like, I've hired them. What are they doing? And they're all like, oh my gosh, a companion. Yes, ma'am.
With 3 years left in his debt, I imagine we'll have to add another 6 months after this little adventure.
Okay, this might work.
Do you need to hold them very much longer?
Looks to me like we're about done here. We had some, his story had kind of an odor to it.
Yes. It's not the only thing about him that does.
He didn't like that. Take your servants or whatever, the cover was. I also love when Inara helps in that way because Mal likes to be the one in control. He doesn't want help. Like, he doesn't want to feel like he needs it. So he's grateful that Inara did that. Yes, but he's like, I could have handled it. But I'm like, no, accept help from Inara. She's a badass. When they were there, they found out what the stolen cargo was when they were like going under questioning and stuff. And they found out that it's medicine to help with this like disease that is taking over this town that literally is like killing these people. But the medicine is like a miracle worker and it actually works and it allows this town to like live on.
Medicine, sir. All of the supplies.
Medicine?
Medicine?
Oh my god. And there's a whole bunch of sick... Looks like there's a whole bunch of sick people here. We need more info before we take on different deals with all these sus people. It's another like moral code situation where Mal is like, well, I'm not going to steal this medicine from this town that needs it. And so he goes behind Niska's back and decides to return it.
But a man learns all the details of a situation like ours, and he has a choice.
Exactly. And his choice was to bring the medicine back.
I don't believe he does.
Yeah, nice. Like, there's no choice because how could I not return the medicine in a situation like this? Okay, cool. I figured. I was like, "Ugh, just as long as you hear us out, there should be no reason for us to fight here." Really important to set up that moral code so that we can continue to root for Mal, despite the fact that he does a lot of illegal things. And Niska's men obviously aren't happy. We get this crazy shot. Niska sends some of his men to the Serenity to like deal with this, and we just like pop one of them through the engine and he spews out the other side. It was a crazy shot. I was like, oh, damn. Then they send the other one back because they give the money back. They were given a certain amount in advance for this job. They kill one of Niska's men and then give the other man like their money back and is like, tell Niska, we're not doing it. Here's the money back. And we do not want to work with him in the future. But I'm sitting here like, I don't know if he's going to like that. He's probably going to come back around. Then the episode ends with the blue-gloved men that I spoke of, and that got me really, really excited. The ending of this episode I loved so much. I guess River was like one of the most interesting components of the show for me, and when it comes to the show itself, we just did not even get to scratch a surface, a milliliter of the surface that I wanted to with her character. I kept waiting for like more of a continuous plot when it came to River, and we didn't really get to dive deep into all that until the movie. But obviously, I do think that had the show gotten to go on, that continuous plot would have like snowballed and become more. But they just were expecting to have so many more episodes, so many more seasons. And so I was kind of a little bit honestly disappointed when another episode would pass where it's like, we just got like a crumb about River, but we're still not really diving into that plot line. And it's unfortunate. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. I wish we got more time, more seasons of this show. Episode 3 was bushwhacked. So the crew discovers a derelict ship full of murdered passengers, victims of Reavers. One survivor becomes feral and violent. Okay, Reavers, they did set up for us. They did mention briefly in the first episode, and my ears perked up. I was like, Reavers sound really scary. I want to see the Reavers. And this is another thing, like throughout the whole show, I was like, when are we going to see some Reavers? And we didn't. I got them in the movie. I love that movie. Yeah, they find this abandoned ship that's been attacked by Reavers, except there's one survivor. All of the other people, their bodies have literally been hung from the ceiling. They contain the sole survivor. He seems to have gone mad from like experiencing just the trauma of the Reavers. He will never be able to recover.
Open up. See what's inside.
This is also an episode where we get a little bit deeper into River's psychic abilities. Like she keeps hearing voices and she keeps being led in some supernatural, like out of this world paranormal way to the abandoned ship. It's so weird. River's connection, by the way, to this ghost ship and what happened here. Like, why is she getting physically affected by this ship? Why did her mind lead her to where those people were? She could hear the screams. Like, what? That has to be something to do with the powers that I think the government gave her, I guess. That was interesting, getting that established here. That made me really excited because I was like, oh my gosh, what did they do to her brain? Why is she like psychic? Was she always psychic? Did they give her psychic abilities? Why did they do this? You know, we do successfully get all of the valuable cargo from the abandoned ship onto our ship, obviously, because listen, why wouldn't you? We are thieves, and no one's going to be using this cargo, so let's use it. However, there is a whole situation where like the Reavers left a trap so that if anyone attached to this abandoned ship, when they detached, both ships would blow up. But literally, don't worry, Kaylee can do anything and she fixes it, and we got no problems, right? Wrong. Because that's when an alliance ship rolls up and they know that there's a Firefly out there harboring fugitives. So the whole crew gets detained and they end up searching our ship. Simon and River stay hidden. Holy shit. It's a miracle. I was so on edge during this whole situation, afraid that they were going to be found, but they were not. And then meanwhile, the survivor like attacks the medical team, the Alliance medical team that's trying to work on him because he's clearly been hurt. He's not okay. And then he tries to hurt himself and he's just like gone mad. Like I said, wait, what the hell? Where is he? Is he still, he's still in? Is that him laughing? Okay. And he ends up escaping Serenity and getting back onto his abandoned ship. It's so annoying because the Alliance people like just so badly want to catch Mal out on something and be able to arrest him for any reason. Like they just don't like his attitude. And they are suspicious that he has Simon and River, even though they don't find them and they can't prove that. But Mal is like, you're going to want my help dealing with this guy. I can help you. So
Let's get him to the brig.
are you sure about that? You really don't want his help?
Men you feel like losing today, Commander?
Basically, Mal finds the survivor back on his ship again. He kills him, which literally saves the lives of these Alliance members because that survivor absolutely would have killed them. Whoa. All the stuff he's done to his face. Okay, we just saved your life. Is that good enough to let us go? So the Alliance agents do let him go, but they do take the stolen cargo, that we took from the abandoned ship. Obviously, they can't let us, have anything good. And they end up destroying the Reaver victim ship and everything. Really cool episode. I really enjoyed this one. I think out of the first 3, this one might have been my favorite so far. Next, we had Shindig, and I also love this one. Guys, I do love these episodes. I'm just going to be honest, this was not my favorite show of all time. Like, if I rate Buffy a 10 out of 10, because Buffy is like my favorite show of all time, literally, I think I would rate Firefly like a 6.5. But I think had it been able to go on and be what it was supposed to be with more seasons, that absolutely would have raised. But we do have a lot of like all-in-one type of episodes. It almost feels anthology. Like you might disagree, and of course there are continuity moments, okay, in character dynamics and relationships, and even reoccurring characters, and River, we're learning a bit more about her every time. But overall, it almost felt anthology to me, and that's something that I didn't love about what we got, which again, I can't complain about because it's like they weren't expecting for it to be cut short at 14 episodes. But anyways, Shindig, I was really excited about, and you guys can probably guess why. We get a lot of pointed romance simmering in this episode because in this episode, Mal attends a high society ball with Inara and ends up dueling a wealthy man after defending her honor. Obviously, I like this episode. Inara is booking a couple days with her regular client that she has. She's met with him a couple times already. His name's Atherton Wing on Persephone. And Persephone is like one of the inner planets. This universe, it's cool how they set it up where it's like the center planets are kind of more quote, civilized, and there's more job opportunity, and there's more bigger cities and technology and stuff like that. And then the outer planets, you kind of get more into a simpler life where they are on the farms, and there's more poor areas. And the outer planets, we know are taken over by Reavers, which are like apparently just straight up monsters. And so Persephone is the middle planet. This Atherton Wing guy that is one of Inara's like regulars is also very high class and fancy, I guess. And there's this party on Persephone that's happening that he wants to take her to. That's the plan. We see Badger return in this episode. He wants to do business with this guy named Warwick Harrow, a fancy man who's going to be at this fancy shindig. But apparently Mal has a better reputation than Badger does. And he's like, Mal, it would be great if you could just be the middleman here.
There's a local by the name of Warwick Harrow.
What a name.
Got some property he wants to sell off planet. Fetch a higher price.
So, you know what that means. Mal is also going to the shindig. Also, they go shopping on Persephone at the beginning of this episode, and I loved Kaylee so much because she's like this badass, strong engineer, women in STEM ship girly, right? But then when they go shopping on Persephone, there's like a pretty dress shop, and she sees the pretty dresses, and she's like, I want a pretty dress.
I like the ruffles.
What are you gonna do in that rig? Flounce around the engine room? Be like a sheep walking on its hind legs.
Just because she's an engineer doesn't mean she just wants to be a girl sometimes in her pretty dress. When Mal gets roped into having to go to the ball, he takes Kaylee as his date, and we find out that he bought her the dress that she wanted, and she feels so pretty. And I'm like, oh, that's so cool that she has like this really girly feminine side to her. So anyways, at the party, Atherton has an offer for Inara to stay with him permanently.
You can live here on Persephone as my personal companion.
You're a generous man.
That is not a yes.
Mal ends up coming over and getting into a conversation, obviously, with Inara and Atherton, because he's really annoyed. He doesn't like this man. Well, also, have I said it yet? He loves Inara. Inara loves him. It's this unspoken thing that really comes to a bit of a head in this episode. Not in a conclusive way by any means, but this is the episode where I'm like, have I been reading the vibes right? And then seeing how jealous he was with her being with Atherton, how much she would rather like stay on this crew to be closer to Mal rather than take up this fancy life in Persephone. I was like, oh, they're in love with each other. It's confirmed. Like, this is what confirmed it after some tension that was set up in earlier episodes. But basically, Atherton shows his true colors and calls Inara a whore, which leads Mal to punch him. And then Atherton's like, okay, we need to duel.
No matter how you dress her up, she's still...
There has been a challenge.
I hope you're prepared, Captain.
A challenge? What the hell?
The duel will be met tomorrow morning at Cadre Pond.
Oh, why wait?
A duel?
Where's that guard? He collected a whole mess of pistols.
Gentleman here can give you use of a sword.
Use of a sword?
Okay, so he knows how to do the dance, doesn't know how to use a sword? This could be a problem. And I'm like, okay, let's go. But the thing is, like, Mal doesn't know how to handle a sword. Like, he doesn't do that type of fighting. He doesn't duel. And so Inara, like, helps him and gives him tips that night, and it's so cute.
Don't take his offer.
She won't. But she doesn't need him to tell her that.
Just in the case that it happens, it means he's a fellow who killed me. And I don't like fellows that killed me, not in general. I said before that I don't have call to stop you, and that's true. Anyways, don't.
Yeah, I know it's not my place, but please listen to me. Also, there's a really cool river moment in this episode where Badger goes on the ship to make sure that, like, no one is escaping before the duel, and he sees River, and she is able to, like, snap into this mode where she completely blends in and, like, says what Badger needs to hear to make him not suspicious.
Sad little king of a sad little hill.
Nice to see someone from the old homestead.
Not really.
And Jane is very impressed, and I am too. And I'm like, oh wow, like I didn't know she was capable of doing that. It's like, oh, you're able to fake it when you need to, and you know the circumstances in which you should step up and blend in, whatever. I was just like appreciative of that moment. It gave us more insight into what River is capable of, what she's thinking and everything. But basically, the duel, not going well for Mal. Inara tells Atherton at one point, though, that she will stay with him if he spares Mal, because he's about to get the winning shot here. It's like a duel to the death vibes. Mal uses that distraction to disarm Atherton, but he ends up sparing him because he's the better man.
It would be humiliating. Having to lie there while the better man refuses to spill your blood.
Yeah, pretty embarrassing. I can't say I'm not surprised that he wouldn't kill him. Atherton's mad at Inara for deceiving him because he's like, you weren't gonna ever come with me permanently, and you made me believe that maybe you would. And she's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna do that. Also, you're blacklisted from all of the companion database and registry, so you will never ever get to, have a date with a companion ever again.
You see, you've earned yourself a black mark in the client registry. No companion is going to contract with you ever again.
Oh, good. That makes letting him live a little bit better, knowing that he can't mess with any other companions. So it kind of still ends with unspoken things between Mal and Inara, and they end up getting a bunch of cattle cargo. That was what this deal was for. It was for literal cattle. Okay. Is that the cargo we were talking about? The cows? The hell? So yeah, but story of their life, unspokenness between Mal and Inara. I really thought that they were gonna go for it in this episode, and this was gonna be like the episode to make them both understand that they're both really in love and they should just be together. And how naive of me to think that would happen. Of course that wouldn't happen with these two, but it was still fun to watch. Episode 5, Safe. So, while delivering those cattle from the previous deal, Simon and River are kidnapped by a rural community who need a doctor. And Simon's a doctor, so they kidnap them both. We get a flashback at the beginning of this episode to young Simon and a bored River. And I was very, very excited to see that it was Zac Efron playing a young Simon. I don't think I've ever seen him in anything while he was that young, so that was cool.
They were using dinosaurs.
Language, young man.
Is that Zac Efron?
Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, it just kind of establishes that their parents really only cared about image and like their son being a doctor, and Simon was more worried about like always being protective of River. They always have had that connection. But anyways, while they're delivering cattle back in the present on this outer planet, Mal sends off River and Simon to go into town to like stay away from the undercover dealing. He still doesn't really want them involved, specifically River, because he's like, I don't know what she's going to do or say at any given moment. Like, she cannot blow things up for us. So he sends them off, and we get this moment in this episode too where like Simon offends Kaylee and her ship while they're like shopping in town.
Serenity ain't Lissa.
No, I did.
Oh, he insulted her ship.
And if that's what you think of this life,
We don't have to help
can't
you.
think much of them that choose it.
Oh, yeah. I love her. I love that she just stood up to him then. She's not like clouded by her crush. She still sees stuff for what it is. And I just love how much she loves what she does in her ship. And I just love her. I didn't even realize, it took me a while to realize that Kaylee liked Simon. And I was like confused as to why she did, because these moments happen a lot where Simon like just continuously offends her. And I'm just like, oh my God, maybe you guys just, I personally don't really ship them in a serious way. I kind of like the edge, like the relationship in the movie. It was very light and fun, but I thought it felt like they were setting them up to be like this big will they won't they situation in the show, that, and I just didn't want that. I was like, please they won't, I don't want them to. While they're shopping, River wanders off by herself, and she just starts to dance on this stage with these people, and it's like, okay, you just know how to do the local dance here, that's chill. But while that's happening, over at the cattle deal, local police come and arrest the clients that we are trying to make the deal with, and Book ends up getting shot in the process. Oh no. Oh my gosh. And it's weird because River like stops dancing immediately and like screams and gets really scared when Book gets shot, even though she's very far away and has no idea that that's happening. It's like her soul knows. She has this psychic ability with not just the future, but even the present. So that was interesting. But yeah, it's scary when Book gets shot. Like, he needs to be treated immediately. But River can't do anything about it because her and Simon just immediately get kidnapped by like random men in this town, which, like, as I said, it's because they need a doctor and they just are like, we need you to stay here with us. Thank you. Oh, why us? What did we even do? Meanwhile, Mal and Zoe are back on the ship and they have Book, and they realize then that Simon and River have been kidnapped. Kaylee's back on the ship. You know, everyone's back, Jane. And they're like, we need to get Book treated.
What about Simon and River?
Forget them. We already lost 2 people today. If I can help it, we won't lose a 3rd.
What? We're not gonna go save them? It's Nara's idea to flag this Alliance cruiser that they see, which that's how you know how desperate they are, asking the Alliance for help. And at first the Alliance is like, we're gonna not deal with this. Like, we're gonna turn you away. We're not gonna help. Then they see Book's ID card, so they take him back. And it's this very mysterious moment that never, ever gets answered. And I'm still like, mad. Like, I want to know so badly. Again, I do like where they took Book's character in the movie. I do, but there's still a part of me that's like, but I want to know who you were, because clearly, like, why did the Alliance react this way here?
Get this man to the infirmary at once.
Who is this man? I mean, we know he's a preacher, but what's his history that he's so important for them to immediately take in? Back with River and Simon, they're like being, I guess they're in a hospitable environment. Like, what's this woman is taking care of them, named Doralee, sees no problem with the fact that they were just kidnapped. There's this mute girl in this medical facility that they're in. River knows why this girl is mute.
Mother got crazy, killed the sister.
Whoa.
That one lived.
Did Ruby talk to her? Does she just know this? Because she, like, I swear she has psychic abilities to an extent.
Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live.
Oh no. River also calls out the village elder out, like, when they decide to all congregate and like get ready to burn her at the stake. She calls out the village elder, who she knows murdered the previous elder so that he could be in that position. Crazy tea.
And he was getting better. You were alone in the room with him.
Oh shit. She doesn't get burned at the stake. Serenity swoops in just in time for the rescue, and there's this cute line. Mal's like, yeah, but she's our witch, so cut her down.
Big damn hero, sir. Ain't we just?
Sorry to interrupt, folks.
Girl is a witch.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's our witch.
Oh.
So cut her the hell down.
She's our witch. How cute. It's really important that he comes back for them. Even Simon's kind of surprised that he came back, and Mal's just like, yeah, I came back. You're part of my crew. End of story. And that's really cool to see. I love Mal. Next up was episode 6, Our Mrs. Reynolds, one of my top 3 episodes because of the writing. This episode has maybe my favorite writing of any episode in the show. I love a double twist. After a mission on a rural moon, Mal accidentally ends up married to Saffron, a woman who turns out to be a dangerous con artist. She fooled me so bad, you guys. I was like, the girls on board at one point were just seemed really jealous and on edge around her, and I was like, I think she's chill, you guys. Like, why are you being so defensive and on edge? I think she's fine. I was like with the guys on this one, and then she fooled me, which I appreciated. I love when a show can do this to me. So yeah, it starts with them like doing a job for this small town. They end up just like taking out some bandits that have been bothering this small town, and it's really fun. Mal's like pretending to be Jane's wife when they attack the bandits at the beginning of the episode. It's just fun to watch. And the town is like very celebratory about this deal that they struck. The bandits are gone. Hooray. They party all night. Jane gets a rain stick. Very exciting for him. And Mal gets a wreath, a bowl of wine, and a dance with a young woman. And he does not realize that apparently on this planet, that is a marriage ceremony. So when they get back on Serenity the next morning and take off, he turns around and it's like, oh, Saffron, the girl he danced with, is still with them.
Mr. Reynolds, sir. I'm your wife.
You accidentally got married last night, and everybody on board thinks it's so funny. I think it's kind of funny too.
How drunk was I last night? I passed out.
But Mal's just like mortified, and he's like, no, you don't have to stay with me. We're going to Beaumont, and we'll drop you off there in 5 days' time. So you have 5 days to hang out here, but then you just go live your own life. And Nara and Mal, we have a lot of bickering here, obviously, which I loved to see because I was like, guys, you love each other. Why are we bickering about this marriage situation, this accidental marriage? It's because you guys love each other and want to be together. Jane actually tries to trade Mal his fancy gun. I think he named it Vera or something. Trade his fancy gun to have Saffron for himself if Mal didn't want her. And I was just like, hello?
You offered me a trade?
A trade?
Oh my god.
Hell, it's theft. This is the best damn
He
gun
wants
made by man. It has
her for himself? No, she is not something you can trade or buy. Jane, why are you like this? Like, I really just didn't like Jane. I was like, why is he on our crew? But I was like, okay, I'll trust him since Mal trusts him type of vibe. Also, Mal actually kind of opens up to Saffron. She has this ability. She gets people talking, and she got him comfortable enough to open up to her, which was cool, interesting to see. That night, Saffron actually tries to seduce Mal, and she ends up getting a kiss, successfully landing a kiss. Oh wow. Oh wow. Oh, I did not expect oh.
Night, sweetie.
Oh my god. I was tricked. I was on the boys' side. I was like, why are these girls all like judgmental of this woman? And they should have been. Now she's ready to turn the ship around. She's working, she's like a con artist, and she's kind of her own independent, entrepreneur. She's doing a deal with these guys that are trying to destroy the ship. And she goes and tries to seduce Wash as well, who, remember, has a wife.
I wish I was somebody else right now. Somebody not married, not madly in love with a...
Yeah, remember that. I don't like how weak to the knees this girl can make him when he's in love with another woman and married.
The first time we met, she actually frisked me.
And then she runs into Anara, and Anara does see through her. Saffron tells Anara, she killed Mal, which she didn't, but she wanted Anara to think so just so she could get her out of the way and she could continue to do this job, setting Serenity on course to, get into this electromagnetic field that has been set up by other guys. I don't know, a bunch of sci-fi stuff is going down, right? And then she needs to escape herself on her own pod. Anara, yes, goes running to Mal. Of course she does. And she thinks he's dead, and she kisses him. Oh, wow. Oh my god, it's still traces of on his lips. She's like, oh my God, you fucking kissed her. Well, Mal wakes up and the whole crew is up to date. Anara's insistent about, she hit her head, I hit my head. She doesn't want anyone to know she kissed Mal, especially Mal. So she's like, yeah, I hit my head and I passed out. And she keeps on over explaining it. And I'm like, girl, no one's suspicious. Please stop.
My head got hurt like wash.
Right.
I don't get any of this.
I only fell is all.
When the crew gets together, they realize that Saffron was doing a deal with like some pirates, I think, navigating Serenity to some electronic disassembly field. But of course, no biggie, our crew is able to shoot out and stop the net from working, like break the electric net. Jane also blows out the port on the pirate ship. And the episode ends with Mal tracking Saffron down because, she escaped the ship. He tracks her down on like this snowy planet. I loved the vibe in her cabin. And there is like, tell me if I'm wrong, but there's like this weirdly sexual tension still and respect, like sexual tension and respect here between them. Mal goes and he just wants to know her real name. He wants to know why she does this. He wants to know like what her motive is here. Like he wants to know who she is. Who are you? And she just doesn't let up. She doesn't tell him. He knocks her out and leaves. He doesn't kill her. And then back on Serenity, Mal confronts Anara. And Anara actually admits to him, like, okay, yeah, I didn't hit my head. She's about to be honest and continue to admit why she passed out. But then Mal is like, I knew you let her kiss you. And he just kind of walks off smiling. And is like,
I knew you let her kiss you.
oh, he doesn't realize. Oh, he has no idea. And she was ready to come clean. No. And I'm like, oh my God. And Nara, she was so close to like telling him she kissed him and she didn't and he didn't get it. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, I wanted to see them together so bad. Episode 7, we have Janestown. I think this is a bit of a fan favorite. I like it, but I wouldn't say it's top 3 for me. So the crew visits a mud farming settlement where Jane is a local hero for all the wrong reasons is the little synopsis here. So yes, we are headed to Canton is what this place is called. And before they like leave the ship and head out, Jane is like trying to hide and strap a bunch of weapons to his body. And Mal is like, you don't need to do that. Please don't do that. That's a hazard. And Jane's like, no, I made enemies. I made enemies on this planet. Like, I need to be prepared. So we're all kind of like, oh God, what did Jane do? So basically the crew is here today to recover some hidden loot. Simon comes along to pose as like this upper class guy interested in the mud for ceramics so that it's not suspicious that they're hanging out here and they have a reason to be here and everything. But in town, they find a statue of Jane. What the hell? Oh, he's famous here. What the hell did Jane do? On the side, Anara has an appointment booked with local magistrate Higgins, who hired her to have sex with his son because he doesn't think his son is a man until he has sex with a woman. And he's like, no one, he hasn't slept with anyone. I need someone to sleep with him. It's very odd.
I brought you here to bed, my son, not throw him a tea party.
Sir.
Weird. Also, wow, there's like a lot of interesting stuff actually in this episode packed into this one. River, back on Serenity with Book, rips up his Bible and she keeps on like trying to fix it. And she keeps on saying, this makes sense, but this doesn't make sense. And this makes sense, but this doesn't. And Book is just like, oh my God. But I'm like, girl, I kind of want to read River's version of the Bible, please. Back in town in a bar, Mal, Jane, Simon, and Kaylee are all having a good time when a local starts singing a song called The Ballad of Jane Cobb. The hero of Canton, the man they call Jane. Wow. No, he's definitely lying to us. He definitely did nice things here. So basically, he tried to pull off a job with like another guy was with him, and it was a 2-man job that they were doing. They were like basically just like stole money from this town, right? But then something went wrong with their ship as they were flying off, so they had to like let go of a bunch of weight on the ship in order to get away, and they had to let go all of the money that they stole, and it just rained down on this town that was very poor, and they were like, oh my gosh. They thought it was on purpose, that he just purposefully stole money from like the uppers in this area to give to the poor. But the thing is, he also kicked out his colleague at the time. His name was Stitch. We'll meet him. He kicked him out of the plane too, and he's been stuck on this planet, and he's mad. He's been in jail on this planet because of that, but Jane got away. Jane gets mobbed, and Mal loves this as a distraction tactic. So he goes to get Kaylee's help. He's like, let's get moving. But Kaylee's busy flirting with Simon, and so she's like, please.
Jane's certainly feeling better about life, but no, really, we got...
things are going well.
She said, let me flirt, goddammit. So Mal actually lets her be, which is so sweet. Like, I love their friendship. Meanwhile, the magistrate has found out about Jane's return and releases a man from custody and hands him a loaded gun to go handle this. And we realize that this man that he released from custody is Stitch, who has every reason to want to kill Jane for abandoning him here. Back to Kaylee and Simon. The next morning they wake up and they are arguing again because Simon seems embarrassed to be like flirting with her and there being an energy there. And she's just like, why are you embarrassed? Like, is it so bad to the thought of being with me? Like, again, another reason why I just don't ship them very much. But yeah, basically Simon ends up getting kidnapped by Stitch. Also, that previous night, Fess did lose his virginity to Inara, but then that next morning, he's summoned to a criminal hearing for like the supposed return of Jane, who, you know, he's in government, so to him, the magistrate and like all the people he surrounds himself with, they view Jane as like a criminal. Fess starts like describing this local hero, legend, whatever, criminal, if you will, to Inara, and the way that he's describing him, Inara thinks he's talking about Mal, but then she realizes he's talking about Jane, and she's like,
Jane Cobb?
Yes, Jane Cobb, the hero of Canton. The only person I ever saw who stood up to my father. Jane will get back and find out that he's grounded.
Yes, that would be bad.
So Mal, Zoe, and Wash successfully get the stolen cargo onto Serenity. And Jane has decided to embrace the hero role, giving a speech to the crowd and kind of trying to humble himself. He's like, I'm not the hero you guys thought that I was. Like, he's kind of stepping up as a hero in a way by saying, I'm not a hero. Stitch shows up with Simon. You know, shots are fired up into the sky. He's got everyone's attention, Stitch does, and he's telling the whole crowd the truth about Jane. And he's about to shoot Jane when one of Jane's devout fans in the audience lunges in front of the bullet, and he takes that bullet and he dies. And Jane is just like, what? Why would you do that? Like, guys, I'm not a hero. Please, no. Like, don't kill yourselves over me. Oh my god, a random civilian just freaking died for Jane. Oh, it's that guy. I remember him from the night before. And Jane ends up killing Stitch. He's very emotional for the man that killed himself for him. And he just keeps telling the crowd, yeah, heroes don't exist, you guys. I'm not a hero. Heroes don't exist. Ooh, gruesome.
Only you!
Oh, he's gonna be honest.
You think there's someone just gonna drop money on you? Well, there ain't people like that.
They just don't accept it. They just find him to be humble. And he knocks down the statue of himself and leaves. And they're landlocked right now because the government, you know, has control over stuff like that. So Serenity's landlocked, but they're able to leave thanks to Fess, the guy who lost his virginity to Inara, because he finessed the system and like he's standing up and making his own choices, not following his father's blind orders anymore, because there's just a cool conversation between him and Inara about this doesn't mean you're a man. You can make your own definition of what that means. And so he does, and he lets them go. His dad's probably pissed, but thank you, Fess. On the ship, Jane still doesn't feel good about how they're leaving things in Janestown. And Mal tells him, it ain't about you, Jane. It's about what they need, which I found that to be really cool. And Jane still just thinks it doesn't make sense. He cannot wrap his head around it. But I absolutely agree with Mal that the town just needed something and someone to believe in. They needed a beacon of hope. And they don't want to hear, you know, they don't care that Jane isn't really a hero. They don't want to know that. They don't want to hear it. Just let them have their beacon of hope. Next up is Out of Gas episode 8, another one of my top 3 episodes. A catastrophic engine failure leaves Serenity adrift. Mal is alone and dying as he tries to restore life support. Flashbacks show how each member joined. I love an origin story. I love the flashbacks, seeing how the crew came together. And yeah, put that against this really intense story of like the ship dying, basically, Mal dying on top of it and possibly going down with his ship. Very intense. So good. We see a flashback of Mal buying Serenity. We see Zoe and Wash meeting for the first time and her being kind of suspicious of him and being like, I don't know about him. I don't like him. We see Jane leaving his old crew, and literally the only reason Jane ended up on Serenity is because Mal offered him more money. And it's like, well, yep.
How much they paying you?
And it's that easy. I can pay you more. Get on here. And we see Kaylee being hired instantly when she just out of the blue fixes an engine problem. He had another engineer originally, which Kaylee actually had like a bit of a situation with. They slept together and stuff. But then Mal realized that she was the much better engineer, so they got rid of that guy and she took Kaylee on.
That should, There.
You're hired.
You got much experience with a vessel like this?
I never even been up in one before.
She's never been in one and she knows all this shit just off the top of her head.
You offered me a job?
Well, what? I believe I just did.
She's taking this man's job. But yeah, I loved the mystery that they set up here with the flashbacks against these like flash forwards to present time where Mal's like bleeding out walking around the ship. If there's blood dripping, I swear to God. You know something really bad has happened, and it takes a while into the episode before you realize what really did happen. It was Simon's birthday and they made this birthday cake, but then literally there's just like an explosion that happens. The pressure of the explosion throws everyone to the ground. Zoe actually saved Kaylee. Kaylee was like about to get flamed. We can't make it to the medical supplies because the ship is like sealed up from the explosion. So technically that's another flashback. We're getting like flashbacks to the origin of the crew. We're getting flashbacks to kind of like a 12 hours earlier situation with like whatever's gone wrong with the ship. And then we also have this present time where Mal's just on his own in this ship trying to survive. Zoe's in really rough shape. Like she needs to be treated. Haley is realizing that there's only a few hours left of oxygen on the ship in the current state that it's in. So it's serious, and basically, at the end of the day, Mal's like, I'm going to try to save this ship. I'm going to stay with the ship and try to get it up and running, do what I need to do here. But he tells everyone else to leave, like go on one of those little lifeboat ships and go off on their own and get help. And I just love it because it's just like a captain sinks with his ship vibes.
4 people per shuttle. That's the arrangement.
Oh my God. That's why he's alone in the flash forwards. He just stays.
We sent out a beacon.
And everyone else has gone off in their shuttles. But yeah, before they left, Kaylee tells him about this like component on the ship called the catalyzer that he needs to, that's what's broken. And that is what present time Mal is trying to do. He's trying to replace the catalyzer. We're confused though as to how he got that catalyzer in the first place, because at the time when like the crew was still all together before everyone but Mal left, they didn't have a spare one. But we get to this part in the episode where there's like a rescue ship where there's a nearby ship that got their like SOS beacon that finds them, and they offer to give them a spare catalyzer. And Mal's like, perfect. So they dock on each other, you know, and the captain of this other ship comes in with the catalyzer, but he's pulling a fast one on us, and he doesn't intend to just hand over the catalyzer. He shoots Mal. That's how he started bleeding. And he's going to replace the catalyzer himself so that he can have Serenity for himself. Why? Okay.
We're taking your ship.
Well, that explains the bleeding, but also what the fuck? But Mal's prepared. He's got a gun. He turns it on this unsuspecting captain and tells him to drop the catalyzer right there or he's going to start shooting. And he does. The captain leaves the catalyzer here for him, backs away slowly, gets on his ship and gets out of here. So that's how he got it. And now he's just trying to install it. And the suspense is so good in this episode. Oh my God, he's still trying to grab it. But it's Mal, and of course he does, in the end, successfully install the catalyzer. And one of my favorite scenes is when he wakes up and his whole crew is with him again, around him in the infirmary. They were worried. They thought they lost him. Like, it came very close with him being shot and like the oxygen levels dropping on that ship and everything. And Mal's like happy to see them all. But my favorite thing ever is like he's kind of drifting off again, and he asks them like, you guys are going to still be here when I wake up again, right? And they're like, yes, of course. And I just thought that was so cute. Like how his love for the ship and his love for his crew are what shines through in this episode. That's the purpose of this episode. That's why I love it so much, and I think so many people do. Like, this feels like the heart of the show, this episode right here.
Y'all gonna be here when I wake up?
We'll be here.
That's so cute. And this is where I have to leave off for this filming segment. I will be back probably in a new outfit and makeup to continue talking about Firefly, and we will pick it back up with the episode Ariel. And there's a lot to talk about with that one. I'll be back in literally a second. Okay, it's a new day for me. We are here to get through the next 6 episodes of Firefly, and up next is episode 9, Ariel. The synopsis reads, Simon offers the crew a job stealing medical supplies in exchange for helping him smuggle River into a hospital for brain scans. This is a top tier episode. This is a top 3 episode for me. So yes, we're headed to another center planet, Ariel. They have a lot of high-tech stuff, the best hospitals, and of course the best medical supplies and medical equipment in general. The episode starts with something very interesting. River takes a slash at Jane with a knife. And she tells him, you look better in red. Like, she is mad at Jane. She has attacked Jane. And obviously the crew is like concerned, because if she's going to be like a violent threat, that's going to change up whether we should be allowing her to stay on this ship. What just happened? What just happened? Why did she just slash him? Now, in hindsight, though, it's interesting looking back at her doing that, because we know that in this episode, Jane is going to betray the crew. He's going to betray Mal, and he's going to betray specifically Simon and River, selling them out. So then it's like, you look back at that and it's like, well, she's just kind of foreshadowing here, really. They're on Ariel for something that Inara has to do over here, like a recertification of some sort, but they don't really have any, like the crew itself doesn't have any jobs to do. So Simon proposes that the crew help him break into the main hospital on this planet so that he can get access to the brain scans, because he wants to like figure out really what the government has done to River's brain. Clearly she's changed. And in return, he'll help them to steal medical supplies from the hospital, which they can honestly then go and give to the outer planets who are very, very low on medical supplies and really struggling. So this kind of mission is right up Mal's alley. He agrees, and it's a go. They make it to the hospital in disguises, even like a disguised medical aircraft that Kaylee and Wash were able to pull together. And then there's this scene that stands out to me too, where Jane, Zoe, and Mal are all practicing their lines because they're going to be posing as like paramedics. And so they're practicing all their lines. And then when it comes for showtime for them to get into the hospital, they don't even have to use them. It's great comedy.
Stimulators and cardiac
infusers. What about cortical electrodes?
Oh. Response? Hell, I don't know. If I wanted schooling, I'd have gone to school.
Got a couple DOAs by the time we got there.
Take him down to the morgue.
River and Simon inject themselves with some sort of like high-tech serum that makes their bodies like completely shut down and basically die without dying, so that they can pass as dead bodies. And so we have like our crew of fake paramedics bringing in Simon and River's bodies, pretending that they're dead, and just to get into the hospital. And it works. It's actually shocking, because usually our plans go awry. Mal is able to successfully revive River and Simon. Simon's able to get River to the brain scans, and he finds out there that the government has tampered with her brain a lot. Many, many surgeries have been had, and he realizes that what they've done to her, at least one part of what they've done to her, has completely taken away her ability to suppress any emotion.
A filter in your brain that keeps your feelings in check.
All of it always comes to the surface, which when I heard that, I was like, oh, so they want to be able to control her through her emotions. If they make her mad, she will lash out, and they want a weapon. That's kind of where my brain went. I wish we could have explored this whole backstory of hers more, but this caveat of what they did to her is really interesting to me. But anyways, the big moment of the episode here, of course, is Jane's betrayal. He's made a deal with the Alliance feds to hand over Simon and River for a decent chunk of cash.
Just like we talked about?
Then I got your fugitives.
Good. We'll see you shortly.
What?
Congratulations.
This better be a double twist where he's really hoodwinking this guy and he's not betraying the crew. This is Jane's personality. This is why I wish we had more episodes, because there's just so much more of a journey for Jane to go on, so much growth to happen here that we don't get to really see in a satisfying way, because we're already on, this is episode 9, right? Yeah, and he's betraying the crew, betraying Mal, betraying River, trying to sell out River and Simon. And he would have gone through with it and completely betrayed his crew and probably just hightailed it out of there, except for the fact that when he hands Simon and River over, the feds obviously take him in too. They don't give him the money. They just try to handcuff him too and are ready to take him along with them. And he's like, whoa, 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 wait. And that's when he fights back. And he does, like, Jane is able to get himself, Simon. Oh. Handcuffed is crazy. And River away from the feds. Oh. Handcuffed is crazy. Meanwhile, Mal and Zoe have managed to make it back to Serenity, but they're like waiting there with the medical supplies and they're like, where are Jane, Simon, and River? They know something has gone wrong, so they go back in to kind of find them and see what's up. Back at the hospital, we see that there are 2 people outside of the regular group of Alliance feds that are also part of the Alliance, but they seem to be like in this really secret, mysterious FBI level sort of sect of the Alliance. They have the blue gloves, which was so exciting to see. Oh my god, the blue glove guys. We love to see some continuity. We love to bring these things back. And they have this special tool that literally can kill someone just by like turning the tool on and just standing near them. It seems to be like a sonic thing. There's really high-pitched noise that will kill anyone in its vicinity. But then also the blue gloved people are able to hear it just fine and not die. So they're really intimidating, really scary, and they specifically are like, no, we need to find River and Simon. What the hell is that? How are they killing them right now? But thankfully, Mal and Zoe, you can always count on them. They come through and they rescue Jane, River, and Simon before the blue-gloved people can get to them. And we get out of here and escape on Serenity. And of course, back on the ship, Simon is raving about Jane because in his eyes, they accidentally ran into the feds and then Jane all of a sudden just starts fighting them off and gets him and River away. And Jane's like standing there like, yeah, I'm the hero, and I'm sitting in my reaction chair being like, oh my god, this is so annoying. Like, are they just not gonna know that Jane betrayed them today? This is a huge betrayal. And Simon's sitting here thinking he's a hero.
We wouldn't be standing here if it weren't for him.
Hey, you're part of my crew.
I hate that. I hate that no one knows that Jane betrayed them all. But don't you worry, you can always count on Mal. He knows all.
So what are you buying with your cut?
Mal knows. Of course Mal knows. And when he gets Jane alone, he knocks him out and puts him in the airlock and has a very serious talk with him that I think genuinely could have ended with him essentially killing him. He's like, I know what you did. How am I supposed to keep you on my crew if I can't trust you? And you're gonna like betray me behind my back, not even to my face. That's embarrassing. And it's interesting because there's this moment where Jane is like, please don't tell the others. Like Jane has accepted that he's gonna die, that Mal is going to kill him for this betrayal. And he says, please don't tell the others. And that's when Mal's like, all right. And he lets Jane out. He lets him live, stay on the crew. But it's kind of like a real last chance being given. That's what it feels like. Like, don't do this again or I will kill you. Like I almost just did. And Mal decides to keep Jane's secret and he doesn't tell anyone what happened that day.
You turn on any of my crew, you turn on me.
I love Mal.
Don't tell him what I did.
Whoa, is he accepting death right now? He's done bad. Okay. But this is probably my favorite Mal Reynolds moment of the entire show. Just the fact that he knew and how he handled it. I was like, I love you. And next up, we have episode 10, War Stories. This one sees the return of Niska, which was highly anticipated, at least in my mind. And the synopsis reads, Niska captures Mal and Wash, torturing them brutally, and Zoe must choose which one to save first. So we have a fun character dynamic explored here when it comes to Mal, Wash, and Zoe. Obviously, Wash and Zoe are married, but Zoe and Mal go way back, and they have this like trauma war bond, and he's her captain, and there's so much respect there, and I think, you know, we get into how Wash feels about that in this episode, and it wraps us up nicely by the end. So we have the return of Niska, like I said. He and his men have been keeping an eye out for Serenity. They've been waiting and biding their time, and they're like, we're going to get him back one day. And his men see a Firefly ship nearby, and Niska's like, yep, bring him in. Let's see if it's Mal Reynolds. I need some words, and more than that.
On the other side of the world might be Serenity. Malcolm Reynolds.
Oh, he's been keeping tabs on us, or asking people to keep tabs on us. And now he's coming for us. Okay.
Bring him here to me.
This is a fun villain to bring back. He was very scary in that episode. And back on Serenity, this is when we're already seeing Wash and Zoe are kind of butting heads right now, because he thinks she's just such a yes man to Mal, and sometimes he disagrees with Mal, and in those moments he wants Zoe to take his side, not Mal's. So that's kind of like the argument they're having right now.
You told him my idea. He rejected it out of hand. And you didn't argue the point or even give it another thought.
I mean, Captain says no. What do you want me to do? But anyways, they touch down on this planet. They've got another business deal that Zoe and Mal were going to go in on together here. But Wash is like, nope. Zoe, you stay here. I'm going to go with Mal. Like, I think he just doesn't even want them working together right now, just out of spite. He does not want the two bonding without him. So he's like, I'll go have some bonding time with Mal. Well, lucky for Wash, it's quite an eventful, adventurous business deal, because it immediately gets hijacked when they get kidnapped by Niska's men, taken into Niska, and tortured, because that is Niska's specialty.
You wouldn't spare Zoe if she were in this situation with you, would you? You would be planning and plotting and...
Well, but Zoe's not here, is she? It doesn't take long back on Serenity for Zoe to be like, okay, where are these guys? And her and the crew end up like coming together and going out to see what's going wrong, because it's been so long. Back at the torture session with Niska, Niska uses he has like an established torturer that does the torture. A lot of the times it's not even just Niska that does it. He hires people to torture people. And Mal and Wash are getting tortured, but through the whole torture session, they're just fighting. They're just bickering about the whole Zoe situation, how Wash is annoyed with him, and Wash is genuinely getting heated, and this is like a therapy session for him almost. And Mal, he just is like, ugh, all these things you're worried about, it's ridiculous, but he keeps fighting with Wash because he can tell that it's keeping Wash awake, and he doesn't want him to pass out during this torture, because that's a step closer to dying.
You never slept with my wife?
No.
In fact, you know that for sure, do you? You ever ask her?
It's the guy she never slept with thing.
Oh.
Tell Mal I wish you had slept with her.
Oh, so there wasn't that mystery of what if? Yikes. But yeah, Zoe ends up bursting in the room. She's brought cash because she's like, I'm just gonna have to buy my men off of Niska. She figures out that it was Niska, right? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna need to buy my men off. And so she brings a certain amount of money, but Niska decides to tell her that, actually, that's only gonna cover the cost of one of these men. So you're gonna have to choose. And it's great writing and directing here, because you expect her to like really be stuck on this decision and take her time and struggle. Niska's expecting that, but she immediately is like, all right, I'll take Wash. That one. That's my man right there.
It's 5 times what you paid us for the train job.
Yes.
Is it gonna be that easy?
You say good time. Not enough for two, but sufficient perhaps for one.
Oh my god, he's gonna make her choose? No, he's just doing this because he's living for the drama. Oh.
Sorry.
She immediately chose Wash. Okay, I'm kind of a slave because I think, that's her husband, first of all. And second of all, I do think she thinks Mal can handle himself more than Wash can. It's really cool because, that's her husband. She does put him first. She just has a lot of respect for Mal and just happens to agree with him on a lot of, business around Serenity. That's why they work so well together. And also it's cool this moment because Mal is not upset in the slightest. He expects her to choose Wash. I think he would have been angry if she didn't. He gets it. No hard feelings whatsoever. Back on the shuttle, Wash is like, okay, we need to go back in there. It's really cool to see Wash turn around. He got his little therapy session. He got all of his anger and aggression out. He had his arguments, and now he's like, okay, shoot, Mal's in trouble. And he leads the charge to go back in and rescue Mal.
Leave no man behind.
Yeah.
Suicide.
Jane doesn't really think that way.
We're going with you.
If it were any one of us, Captain wouldn't hesitate.
Okay, cool. I like that we're all rallying for Mal.
What?
This is great.
Look at the captain.
I love that Jane is deciding to come along. It's a small thing here, but after the last episode, It is a necessary thing that I needed to see. So Zoe, Jane, and Wash go back into Niska's place, guns a-blazing, and they have Book, Simon, and Kaylee stay back on Serenity and defend the ship because Niska's men are probably going to show up on Serenity to fight. And they do, and when they do, Kaylee is really clamming up. She is not a fighter. She's not built for this sort of thing. She likes to do her engineering job, and let's please end it there. So she almost is in trouble because the Niska's men are closing in on Serenity, and she just can't do it. She can't shoot this gun. She can't aim. But surprise, surprise, guess who can shoot again? And who can aim with their eyes closed? River. Well, that is a superpower. And Kaylee looks at her like, okay, like actually a little scared, especially with, you know, the previous episode where she was violent with Jane, and now she's doing this, and it's like, what are you capable of? That's a common question that we're asking ourselves as the show goes on. Back with Mal, he's actually in the middle of like battle 1v1ing his torturer, which isn't Niska. Niska unfortunately got away. So he probably was going to come back again, but this is the last time we see him. Mal's 1v1ing his torturer when Zoe, Wash, and Jane show up, and another really great comedic beat here. Zoe's like, wait, stop, guys. They see Mal fighting, and she's like, he's going to want to take care of him himself. He's going to want to do this himself.
There's something the captain has to do for himself.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. He screamed. That's so funny. And by the end of this one, all the stuff with Zoe and Wash, the disagreement about Mal, we move past it. They're a happy married couple again. And that is War Stories. Episode 11, Trash. Another recurring character is back. This synopsis reads, Saffron returns, manipulating Mal into a high-security heist involving a priceless antique laser pistol, which is called the Lassiter. This is a fun one. We have a hilarious, really fun start to the episode. We just get this shot of Mal completely naked, sitting on a rock in a desert, all alone. Oh. Do we have clothes on? And you're looking at this image and you're like, what happened? And it's one of those fun formulas where they do like 72 hours earlier, and we go back and you know what we're leading up to. I really love playing around with the formula like that. It can be really fun if it's done well, and this one is definitely captivating. It hooks you and you're sitting there being like, I can't wait to figure out what the heck happened here. Like I said, 72 hours earlier, Mal was meeting up with an old war buddy, a little friend of his, and his friend named, what was it? It was Monty. That was his name. Well, his friend Monty has a new wife, and he's so excited to introduce her to Mal, and Mal is shocked when he recognizes her, and he's like, that's not your wife, Bridget. That is con artist Saffron. You're gonna want to get away from her.
I want you to meet my Bridget.
That ain't Bridget. That is not Bridget.
You guys have met.
Well, yeah. So Monty does. He abandons Saffron on this planet with Mal. You know, Mal's not with them. So Mal and Saffron end up alone after Monty gets out of there. And actually, after an enticing deal that Saffron brings up to Mal, she's after that Lassiter, you know, he is like, okay, you can come back to Serenity and we can do this deal together. And at the time, I was like, what's happening? Why would you choose to do a deal with Saffron, who you know is a con artist, who has hoodwinked you guys before? This cannot go well. And I know how the episode starts, him naked in a desert. And I'm like, see, why did you agree to this? But hold your horses. We'll get there.
All right. Tell me more about this job of yours.
I should have known. I should have known. And she's going to screw us over for sure.
What's she doing on the ship? Did she try to kill us?
Yeah. We can't trust her. She's gonna screw us over. She's probably hiding information about this deal. So Saffron explains her plan to the whole Serenity crew. She wants to rob the Lassiter from a man who collects items from the Earth that was, which is what they call Earth that, you know, doesn't exist anymore. And yeah, for the most part, the crew had the same exact reaction as me. They were like, absolutely not. We're not going to work with you. Mal, we're not going to work with her, right? But Mal's like, we're going to work with her. He's just insistent. He's the captain. So reluctantly, everyone is like, all right, well, this is going to end badly. Jane is on Simon and River duty, kind of like keeping an eye on them because Mal wants them to stay away away from Saffron. When he's watching Simon and River, River makes a comment about how Jane is, quote, afraid they'll know. Like, he's very on edge around these two after he betrayed them in Ariel. Of course, River saying that confirms to us that, yes, of course, she knows what he did. And it's like, she probably knew what he was going to do before he even did it, but Jane doesn't realize that.
Since Ariel.
Oh, okay. Interesting that he tried to sell them all out. Specifically these two. As far as the Lassiter, the plan is to get inside Hamer's base and then capture the Lassiter, which Saffron claims that's going to be the easy part. The harder part is getting it out. And Kaylee is the one who comes up with the plan. They are going to put the Lassiter down a specific trash chute in this base. And she's going to reroute the trash chute to like come to them instead of the nearest junkyard at a specific remote location. So yeah, Mal and Saffron make it to the Lassiter room without any issue. It's very shocking. Like Saffron said she could get them in, and she got them in. The Lassiter is right there in front of them. But then someone walks in the room, and it is Hamer himself. And it's a moment where we're like, oh shoot, we're about to fight, we're about to get yelled at. Like, what's he gonna say? You know what this man does? He runs over to Saffron, just so excited and relieved to see her and to see that she's okay. And we realize that this is one of her husbands who thinks she has been missing for 6 years and has been worried about her all these years. And we're sitting there looking at them like, well, of course. Does he recognize her? Is it his wife? Oh man. Fucking chorus. She's got a husband on every planet, every moon. This guy knows her as Yolanda. And the way that Saffron acts around him, Mal actually wonders, like, is this your real husband? Is your name really Yolanda? We never get confirmations to either of those questions. Of course, Saffron never opens up, but Saffron's quick on her toes. She tells Hamer that, oh, this is Mal. He rescued me. Like, he deserves compensation. He deserves a reward. You should go collect a reward and bring it to us, just to get him out of the room. And it works. Hamer leaves. Of course, we get some like teasing back and forth between Mal and Saffron about what just happened. But the problem is when Hamer comes back with what's supposed to be the compensation, we find out that he knows that Saffron is a con artist, and he actually just called the authorities on these two. So we need to get out of here quick.
I love you, Yolanda. But I couldn't think for a second you actually came here for me.
Wow. Okay, he's not the hopeless romantic he came across as. I respect a double cross. I do. He played it well. Thankfully, Mal is able to get the Lassiter down the trash chute without Hamer even noticing. And then Saffron tries to work her charms on Hamer, like tries to get him to take it back and everything, but that doesn't work, so she just knocks him out. And her and Mal are able to escape on Serenity's shuttle, so the authorities are going to show up, but they made it out. They got the Lassiter down the chute, they made it out, they did their part. And then when they're alone in that shuttle, we almost think, like I almost fell for it. I thought we were about to get a heart-to-heart. I thought she was finally gonna open up to Mal.
I've seen you without your clothes on before. Never thought I'd see you naked.
Oh, well.
You can question the meaning of life on a floaty island of your own for a while.
Then I won't tell anyone how easily I got your gun out of your holster.
She's too good. This is why I love her. This is why I'm so happy we brought her back. Don't let her fool you twice like she did me, because she just pulls Mal's own gun on him. And we find out that she has messed with Serenity, like the ship, and the crew over there on Serenity are not going to be able to leave and make it to the rendezvous point. And whatever she did to Serenity caused major issues, major destruction. Things got really dangerous over with our Serenity crew. Jane literally, like, really damaged his spinal cord. Oh my god. Now, in the desert, before Saffron leaves to go search the junkyard for that Lassiter for herself, she makes Mal strip down naked and abandons him on the rock in the desert before taking the shuttle over to the junkyard. But someone has managed to make it to the junkyard and snatch up the Lassiter before her. That's so crazy. Her name's Inara. Inara the badass. I love when she gets involved in our little deals, in our little schemes.
Just my part of the job.
What part of the job?
You know, I put on the big act, storm away in a huff.
Oh.
Double cross Mal, beat you to the rendezvous spot, and grab the loot before you can get to it.
They knew. They couldn't trust her. I didn't. Ugh, I never see anything coming in this show when they pull shit off. And this is when we figure out the double twist that Saffron isn't the one who has hoodwinked the crew this time. The whole crew has been playing Saffron from the beginning. They knew not to trust her. They knew that she would do this, that she would try to make it out on her own and get the Lassiter for herself. And they were 5 steps ahead. So here we go. And Nara's there with the Lassiter in hand, pointing it at Saffron. And she ends up trapping her in like this big junkyard container where the authorities are going to be picking her up. So have fun, Saffron. Back on Serenity, like I said, Jane got hurt really bad and he's coming to in the infirmary from that spinal injury. Simon is there working on him. And Simon makes it clear to Jane that he knows what Jane did because River told him what went down on Ariel.
How much did they offer you to sell out me and River on Ariel?
There it is. And Simon does have the ability to kill Jane right now. He could just not fix him. He could operate. He could say something went wrong in surgery. But he makes it very clear to Jane that he's not going to do that. That he would never betray or hurt him because they are on the same crew. And he kind of just expects the same respect from Jane. You know, it's like, I have an upper hand here with you. I can hurt you, but I'm not going to, so you better not hurt me. And then River also adds in a little comment. She's like, and I can kill you with my brain.
I can kill you with my brain.
I figured. And the episode ends with the crew picking up the stark naked Mal in the desert, and Mal's just not embarrassed at all. He's loud and proud about his nakedness, and that's it. That's another episode. Episode 12, The Message, the synopsis. The crew receives the body of an old war comrade, Tracy, who turns out to be alive and smuggling organs inside himself. Crazy concept. When the concept came to light and I realized what was going on here, I was like, okay. Never heard that before. That's original. That's terrifying. That's insane. But first of all, before we get into the episode, I just have to say we get the best fashion of the entire show in this episode. And that is thanks to the hat that Jane is wearing that his mom sent to him. It's adorable. It's perfection. I wish he wore it 24/7 starting on this episode. But yeah, the whole crew is at like this basically a post office, like a high-tech futuristic version of a post office. And it's here that Simon puts his foot in his mouth again, completely dismissing a potential romance with Kaylee. It's so annoying to me every time he opens his mouth and says something to offend her. I'm just like, it's not that hard to just look at her like a romantic interest because like we see that they go on to be that. So why are you talking like this? Ugh, Simon frustrates me sometimes.
Every other girl I know is either married, professional, or related to me, so
oh. Right,
more or less you're literally the only girl in the world.
That's what a girl wants to hear. Like, you're my like
Joking.
Last option. On this pit stop, it's not just the hat that Jane receives. That's not the only reason for the pit stop. They also have a huge package that has been sent to them, specifically Mal and Zoe. And when they open it up, they find the dead body of their old war comrade, Tracy. And they're like, what? In shock. So, Jane, you know who that is?
What'd y'all order a dead guy for?
Confused. What is this? They're sad because it's like, okay, that sucks that he died. But it came with a voice recorder, and on the voice recorder, it's Tracy, and he's basically like, I got into some trouble with some people. I think I might be killed soon. If I am, can you please return my dead body to my parents on my home planet?
And you two are the only people I trust to get me where I'm going.
Oh.
Which is home.
Oh.
I'd like my body to be with my folks on St. Albans.
So they're like, all right, yep. Let's bring him on Serenity. Let's get this done. But back on this post office space station situation, once our crew is gone, some federal agents, the Alliance show up and they talk to the head guy at this post office and are like, who took this package? They're trying to track down that package of dead Tracy.
Dead cargo through the Allied postal system is punishable by 5 to 10 years.
Well, he didn't do it. They're scary, they're intimidating, and they get the man to confess who it was, and these feds are going to be on our tail.
The colonel must have said something.
What the fuck? Oh my god. It's those guys looking for the body. So when I'm watching this, it's like, okay, why are they so interested in this random guy's dead body? Like, please just leave it alone. But then we find out that Tracy is not dead. He is very much alive, and it's a very startling discovery. What? And it's not just me that it's startling to. The crew is very shocked and are like, okay, Tracy, it's time to do some explaining. And he explains how he got into the black market trade of organ trading, and that he harvests the organs in his literal body before, he gives them up to people, and then they replace the organs with other organs, and then he gives those up to people, and it's this whole cycle of organ trading. And apparently one of these deals that he made where he agreed to give his organs to a certain set of people, he decided, actually, I don't want to give you these organs. Someone else is willing to pay higher, so I'm going to give it to them. But the people who he decided to just blindside and not meet up with, not hand over the organs like they agreed upon, they're upset and they're after him. And now he's like, protect me, Mal, protect me. So yeah, like I said, those guys at the post office, they're going to be on our tail. And they are. It's so suspenseful. We get like this ship-on-ship chase scene. And it's this like very mountainous region where our little Firefly ship is much smaller and can get through like smaller spaces and everything. We're trying to hide and outrun these guys that are after Tracy, seemingly willing to kill us at this point because they start dropping bombs on us, trying to smoke us out basically to reveal where we are as we're trying to hide through this mountainous region. They're up ahead. It's really scary. Oh shit. And it gets to the point where like the crew come together and they're like, do we just show ourselves? Do we show ourselves? Do we hand Tracy over? And Tracy overhears this conversation where they're considering this, and he decides to pull a gun on them, pull a gun on the crew, and he grabs Kaylee, who, by the way, they were flirting. So now it's just like, can Kaylee catch a break? Like the people she likes either don't even notice her or they use her as bait and threaten to kill her. Come on.
Kaylee, get out of there! You're a rabbit, Mel!
But yeah, Tracy literally ends up shooting Wash. Zoe immediately shoots Tracy. Both Tracy and Wash, neither of them are death kills, but they're both wounded.
No!
You shot me.
Damn right.
Oh shit.
That's
Well,
enough
yeah,
shooting.
you're shooting at her husband. Tracy just keeps walking around using Kaylee as his own personal shield. Long story short here, Mal doesn't fuck around when it comes to his crew. Once, Kaylee was in Tracy's arms with a gun pointed at her head, threatening to kill her, Mal manages to kill Tracy.
That call means you just murdered me.
You murdered yourself. Okay.
Murder yourself.
And it's kind of a shocking moment because it's like, yeah, Tracy's like a liability and he's threatening our crew. Like he's doing all these really awful bad things. But it's crazy to think about the fact that it's still their war friend. Like they have that war bond, and it sucks that it came to this. Like this was not an easy kill for Mal by any means. The Alliance feds, they are no longer interested now that Tracy's been killed. I think he was shot in the organs, so those are like damaged goods to them. And yeah, since they're uninterested, they just leave. But Mal and Zoe both agree that they should still bring Tracy's body back to his parents on his home planet. And they do. They keep the promise that started out the episode.
Tell my folks I wanted to do right by them and that I'm at peace and all.
That's how the episode ends, with a little funeral of sorts on Tracy's home planet. Next up is episode 13, Heart of Gold. Synopsis reads, the crew helps a brothel of sex workers defend themselves from a violent local tyrant. So we open on this unofficial companion house, independent sex workers, if you will. And this dude named Burgess, it was Burgess or Burgess, I can't remember, he stomps in demanding to see Petaline. And the leader of this ranch, Nandy, she's like, yeah, Petaline doesn't work here anymore, you need to get out of here. But Burgess does not give up, and he manages to find Petaline, who is 9 months pregnant, supposedly with his own kid.
If this DNA is a match with mine,
Whoa.
I will be back for my baby.
Oh, we need to get this girlie into hiding. He's like, yeah, when she gives birth, I'm going to be back to collect my child. He's just going to rip that baby out of her hands, and she won't be involved at all. So yeah, we hate this man. Nandy decides to call Inara because they go back, they did companion training together back in the day. So she calls her for help and sees what she could maybe pull off, and Inara's like, oh, this is right up in Mal's alley. Don't worry, we got you. We'll be there. We can help. So at this quote whorehouse, that's what it's referred to as a couple times. They meet everyone, Serenity crew arrives, and I was immediately worried about Jane being in this environment. I was like, please, Jane, do not do anything really awful here. Like, I genuinely, that's how little faith I had in his character at this point. I wasn't sure how he was going to act in this environment, but he actually was pretty chill. Of course, he got involved with one of the girls here, but it was all very consensual, thank God, and they had a great time together, so good for you, Jane. That night as well, Nandy and Mal end up sleeping together, and it's kind of very much tea, because before they do, Nandy reminds him, I'm not her.
I ain't her.
Ooh.
Only people in this room are you and me.
She has picked up on the energy between Mal and Inara. She knows that there's something there. And I think she thought, because they had a bit of conversation that led up to the sex, obviously. They didn't just randomly go for it. They connected. They had a heart-to-heart and everything. There are some similarities there between Nandy and Inara. And so she was like, you better not just be sleeping with me because I remind you of her. And he kind of just like, yeah. And they sleep together. We also get a scene, oh my God, from that night back in town with Burgess. And one of the sex workers, Sherry, ends up going to Burgess that night. She's a mole, and she tells him everything. She tells him that Mal and this Serenity crew arrived and they're planning on fighting you. So that sucks. It's sad that she's ratting us out, but also the way that Burgess speaks to Sherry in this scene is diabolical. It's insane. I cannot repeat it.
But Nandy and those others, they spit on our town.
Oh my God. This guy is so giving Gaston right now. Shari's already regretting this.
Right here and now, what a woman is to a man. Get on your knees.
Oh my God. This man needs to die. The next morning, Mal and Inara unfortunately run into each other in a hallway, and Inara picks up the vibes and realizes that him and Nandy slept together the previous night. And my heart breaks in this moment, and I'm like, oh my God, no, I know you care. I know you care. Like, please, it's gonna be okay, Inara. But she holds it together. She's very strong. And I'm like, oh, okay. Wow, stronger than me. She's doing great. But then we see her break down when she's on her own, just break down sobbing alone in her room after she finds out. And my heart breaks again. Oh no, I'm gonna cry. But yeah, we keep it moving. Pedaline's literally in the process of giving birth at this point, which Simon is overseeing, even though he's never ever delivered a baby, so that's a little scary. But then also at the same time, it's time for battle. Like, we have put up our defenses around this ranch, and Burgess and his men are coming in. And that's only one front of the battle, actually. There's also a battle going on at like the Serenity ship, because they know about the ship thanks to Sherry. So Wash and Kaylee are also being ambushed, and there's a lot going on here. It's a pretty intense, even battle for the most part, until Sherry decides to let Burgess right into the ranch, like sneak him in, and he walks in just as Pedaline has given birth and the baby's there, and he just steals the baby, takes the baby. Ah!
Good morning, Pedaline.
How did he get in here? But Inara to the rescue again. The consistent, unexpected badass.
No, this is your blood.
Ooh.
Now you hand that child over nice and slow.
She steps up behind him, puts that knife to his throat, and demands that he let the baby go. And so he does. And one of like the little nurses, I think, like takes the baby and runs off. However, Burgess is able to get out of Inara's hold, and he shoots Nandy before fleeing. Ooh. No. And unfortunately, Nandy actually dies from the shot. And I don't know why this is one of the deaths in the show that is shocking to me. I didn't expect her to die, and it really affects Inara and Mal and gives them the fire that they need to hunt Burgess down and put an end to him. So yes, Mal manages to go out and capture Burgess and bring him back to the ranch, and he does the best possible thing here. He gets him down on his knees and then brings Pedaline out. She gets a gun, and she's the one who gets to kill Burgess, the man who did all the awful things to her. You know, she gets her own personal revenge there, so that's very fun.
Say hi to your dad. Say
Oh.
goodbye to your daddy, Jonah.
Oh my God. Afterwards, we have a funeral for Nandi and a couple other people that lost their lives in this huge battle. And then it's time to ride off on Serenity again. And on Serenity, the episode ends with what we think is going to be another heart-to-heart, will they, won't they conversation between Mal and Inara. And the way it was going, I genuinely thought that Inara was going to tell Mal that they should be together. But of course not. The show hates me. So instead, Inara tells Mal, hey, I'm actually going to leave this ship.
I'm leaving.
And I'm there like, what do you mean? But yeah, I did look this up. I was like, why? I wonder what people theorize about why she made this decision to leave. There's a lot of things that you can assume. Like one of the things that I thought possible was that she was just really hurt by what happened with Mal sleeping with Nandi and realizing how much it hurts her. She's like, I can't stay here and not be with him. And she's too scared to be with him. So she's like, well, I just can't see you at all. It's too painful. So that's why she leaves. But then when I looked this up to see other people's theories, apparently there's a bit of a season 2 spoiler. It's not really a spoiler because season 2 never happened, but I guess there was a show called Browncoats Unite. It was like a 10th annual special for Firefly where the crew got together and talked about it. And it was said in that special that they had plans, the writing team had plans to reveal that Inara has a terminal illness. And that was going to be something revealed in season 2 that they were going to play with. And the real reason she left here was because it was so hard watching Nandi die, seeing Mal grieve Nandi, and she knew she was going to die, and she didn't want the crew to have to watch another loved one die, watch her die. So I was like, wow, that's really interesting and something I wish we could have seen. This brings us to the final episode of Firefly, episode 14, Objects in Space. A philosophical bounty hunter named Jubal Early boards Serenity hunting River. River appears to vanish, then speaks through the ship's intercom claiming she has become Serenity. If only. So we open with a POV shot of River walking around the ship, listening in on everybody's conversations, some psychic mind reading at work as well. But then she comes across this twig on the ground and she picks it up and she's in this natural environment that is no longer Serenity. Like it seems like she's hallucinating. But then everything comes back to normal, comes back to real life. And we see that she's not actually holding a twig. She's holding a pistol and she's got it raised. And the whole crew is around her. They've noticed this and they're terrified. Oh my God. Mal gets the gun. It's a loaded gun. That could have been really bad. And Mal is basically like, you need to get your sister under control, Simon. Like, this is getting out of hand. So yeah, it leads to a bigger discussion, a bigger conversation between the crew where they're like, what are we going to do? Do we keep River on here? Has it gotten, is this the final breaking point? Do we need to get rid of them? River is overhearing this conversation. She's eavesdropping like she always does, hearing them discuss whether she should stay or go, and it hurts her. But she's not the only one that's eavesdropping. The bounty hunter that's been hired to kidnap River, he's on the hull of the ship, and he has like this device that lets him listen in to inside the ship to hear this conversation as well.
We got someone on board this ship. Might be a danger to us.
Cut to the guy on top of the ship. Yeah. Yeah. And during it, Kaylee also decides to finally come clean to the crew about what happened that day when Niska's men were attacking the ship and she couldn't use the gun. And River showed up, took the gun, and like closed her eyes and killed people. Yeah, now that the crew knows that as well, they're just like, she's a weapon. Like, is she she's a danger to us. This is scary. So yeah, the crew are not, though, able to come up with a conclusive answer by the end of the night. They're just like, you know what, let's all sleep on it, maybe we'll make a decision, talk about this more in the morning. And this is when Early breaks into the ship undetected. Oh my God, we don't have any like security alarms. What is this? How is this guy able to get in here so easily? And the first person he runs into is Mal, who he just immediately takes out, locks him in his cabin along with a lot of the other crew in their like cabin bunkers. Oh man, oh man, oh, Mal is not ready. Oh geez. So it's really scary because like Mal is like the big bad hero, not bad, but he's the big guy. He's the hero of the show, of the crew. And to see him get taken out so quickly by Early was really scary. It sets Early up really well. Then he finds Kaylee in the engine room, and the threats that he throws Kaylee's way, threatening her to cooperate with him or else. The or else part of his monologue is not something I want to repeat. It's really scary, and I was terrified for Kaylee in this episode.
I'm gonna tie you up now.
Oh.
And you know what I'm gonna do then? I won't touch you in any wrong fashion.
Oh.
Nor hurt you at all.
Okay.
Unless you make some kind of ruckus. Your body is forfeit.
Ew.
And I can find all unseemly manner of use for it.
So he leaves Kaylee tied up and quiet. He goes on to attack Book as well as Simon. And he knows that Simon is River's brother. So he's very interested in Simon. And he's like, hey, you're going to need to help me find your sister. I need your sister. And of course, at first, Simon's like, I'm not going to help you. Who do you think I am? And then he's like, yeah, well, if I don't, I'm going to do unspeakable things to Kaylee. Do you want that? Simon doesn't want that. So yeah. He helps Early, and they walk around the ship together looking for River. Simon genuinely doesn't know where she is because she's not where she's supposed to be sleeping. On the way to the bridge, Early also takes out Inara, and then on the bridge, he announces to the ship, like, River, you need to come out or else I'm going to kill Simon. And this is when River responds, and it's like this amplified voice that rings out through the ship.
River's not on the ship. They didn't want her here, but she couldn't make herself leave. I'm in the ship.
In the walls?
I am the ship.
River.
River's gone.
And I was sitting here like, believing it. I was believing every second, and I was like, this is freaking awesome. Unfortunately, we do find out later that she's just messing with him. It's unfortunate, but right now, I'm not the only one who believes her. Early also gets convinced that this is true. So yeah, River is able to like use her voice to speak to specific people when she wants to. So we see her speak to Kaylee and help Kaylee get free, and she directs her to go and free the members of the crew that are stuck in their cabins.
Don't be scared. I'm right here.
River gets a plan moving with Mal and the crew from there that Simon and Early are completely unaware of, but Early does eventually figure out that he's been hoodwinked by River, and she has managed to sneak onto his own ship. She never became one with Serenity. Very disappointing, honestly, in my opinion.
You're on my gone ship!
Oh, she's got jokes. I absolutely believe she literally was Serenity. I would have believed that, but okay. So Early, when he finds that out, he's so mad that he shoots Simon, which is not something that River expected. She's panicking. Thank God it's just a wound. You know, it's just a bullet wound, no big deal. But no, he doesn't die or anything. He's more concerned about trying to get back on his own ship. But Mal ambushes him. We get a good little fight scene. And he actually manages to push Early off into the emptiness of space where he will, you know, presumably eventually die. I was... He just flung him into space. Is he gonna be able to... He just flung him into space. And like I said, you know, Simon's gonna be okay. Zoe fixes him up as Simon instructs her, you know, telling her what to do. And one of my favorite things that happens in this episode is we get this shot of River and Kaylee like playing together again. They're playing a game of jacks.
Turns out he's like 14 years old.
I love that they're playing in Friends again. It's cool because we've seen them play together and just be really close in a really sweet, innocent, I don't know, childlike kind of way throughout the whole show. But then when that situation happened where River shot the men in the Niska episode, Kaylee was afraid of her, but now like the crew accepts her more than ever. You know, she helped the entire crew. They see like how smart she is and how together she is. And sometimes her brain gets away from her, but at the end of the day, they believe she won't hurt anybody because look at everything she just did to protect them all. And yeah, it's just so cool to see her and Kaylee play together again. The found family vibes are greater than ever, coming to an end with this final episode. And the actual last shot of this episode is one of Early just floating around in space, and he's like, well, here I am, or he says something like that, and then it's like end of the show. And obviously it feels so unfinished. It feels like just another episode. I'm so upset. I'll always be upset that there's not more that we got to have here. Thankfully, I will say I loved the movie. My movie reaction is up. I'll link it in the description box. I go into, you know, a bit deeper into my thoughts on the movie over on that video, but what I'll say here is that I'm really happy with how all of the characters' storylines came together. I'm happy we finally got to see the Reavers in the movie. We dug a little bit deeper into like the history of the Reavers, as well as River's history and involvement with the government. I was, for the most part, happy with how all of the characters' stories ended, except I was really upset with Wash. Obviously, he dies in the movie. And I didn't want that, of course. I didn't like it. I mean, you never want a death to happen. But for example, with Book's death in the movie, it felt right. It felt purposeful. It felt okay. You know, there was this big silver lining to Book's death in the movie that made sense. But Wash was just sudden and random and sad. And I don't know, I was just upset and sad when it came to Wash's death. But it makes sense, you know, when you go to war, when you fight like this crew does, there's going to be casualties. So that sucked though. And then also we didn't quite get an official we're together now situation with Inara and Mal. It kind of, the movie leaves them at this point where, well, they probably will. And I'm like, okay, I'll take it. But I still wish we could have gotten even more. And then Simon and Kaylee, they kind of switched the energy, in my opinion, in the movie with them, because throughout the show, it felt like Kaylee really liked him and could grow to love him and this be like a really serious relationship. That's what it felt like they were pushing for in the long run with that. And they didn't quite get to the point where Simon 100% got it, how much Kaylee liked him. But then in the movie, they kind of switched the energy over to something much more light and playful where Kaylee's just trying to get laid. And she does really like him. It's not just that, you know, there's still like respect and possible future love there, of course, but it's more centered on the lightheartedness of the attraction between them and wanting to get laid. And I thought that was cool. That was fine. And they did get to do that in the movie. So I was happy for them, but I don't look at them as like some big exciting love story. That's reserved, in my opinion, for Inara and Mal. And we got crumbs in the movie. I'll never get enough when it comes to them. But yeah, that was my experience with Firefly, and I guess a little note on Serenity. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been an interesting process putting something together like this. I'm going to perfect it over time. I think in the future when I watch TV on Patreon before I get to the YouTube video, I'm going to make notes along the way for myself, because what happened here is I had to go back and like make notes for every episode once I finished the entire thing, and it was a bit overwhelming. I did my best with this video and I hope you like it, is what I'm trying to say, and I'll keep on trial and erroring with this format going forward with all the other TV that I watch. So yeah, thank you guys so much if you've made it this far. Hopefully you guys will come back to this little channel, and I will see you guys next time.